Dr. Sooliman was born in Potchefstroom in the northwest province of South Africa. He started his schooling in Potchefstroom but moved to Sastry High School in Durban in 1978, and he qualified as a medical doctor at the then University of Natal Medical School in 1984. Dr. Sooliman gave up his career as a medical doctor to pursue the field of humanitarian aid, which for him transcends the boundaries of race, religion, culture, class, and geography. In 1992, he founded the Gift of the Givers Foundation. The organization is impartial, apolitical, and aims to serve with compassion, kindness, and mercy, and is the largest disaster response non-governmental organization of African origin. The Gift of the Givers continues to concern itself with alleviating physical and emotional suffering. The foundation provides disaster relief, primary healthcare clinics, feeding schemes, water purification and water wells, clothing and food parcels. It provides bursaries and educational support, agricultural self-help schemes, job creation, counseling services, and drug rehabilitation, plus various and numerous other projects that we're going to speak about today with Dr. Sooliman. And I have had the pleasure of knowing Dr. Sooliman and watching him do many projects, do many speeches. I have a beautiful signed book by Dr. Sooliman, and it is my absolute pleasure that we have him with us today. So Dr. Sooliman, the first question that I have for you, and you're welcome to go off script as we discussed and ask ask the audience if there's anything in particular they want to hear from you. However, one of the things that has always inspired me about you is you received a message from your spiritual leader in Istanbul at the age of just 30, and it was what inspired you to start the Gift of the Givers Foundation. And I would love you to share that with our members, and also to give us some insight in the transition from doctor to humanitarian and why that was an important move and change for you.
Thank you, Samantha. Thank you for the invite. Hello, everybody on the program, wherever you are from. Thanks for the invite, the opportunity to share, this very important aspect, because this aspect is actually what drives Gift of the Givers to achieve what we achieve. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you perfectly.
It goes back, let me put it this way. Gift of the Givers is not my organization. I didn't get up one morning and say to myself, I think I want to form an organization. I got nothing else to do. I was a very busy doctor. I had 3 practices in a place called Pietermaritzburg, KwaZulu-Natal in South Africa. I was extremely busy. And if I reflect, and to me, the organization is totally spiritual. That's not a reflection, that's a fact. It's totally spiritual. And if I look, welcome, nice seeing you. It's totally spiritual. And if I reflect, it goes back to 1985. In 1984, my mother passed on in Durban. It's the year I finished my junior internship and qualified as a doctor. And then in 1985, while I was doing internship, I said to myself, like all young people, we have aspirations. I wanted to be a physician, a specialist in internal medicine. But there was no post. I couldn't study any further. So in 1986, I had to decide what to do. There was no junior officer post. I couldn't go into a registrar post. I couldn't study further. We were teaching. We don't pray for what we want. We pray for what is good for us. So it was not because what you want may not necessarily be good for you. So I left it at that and said, okay, come to Pietermaritzburg. I moved from Durban to Pietermaritzburg, started a private practice here, and then of course became a second one and a third one. But here's where the story is very, very important. When I moved to Pietermaritzburg in 1986, an African man from South Africa was all came to Pietermaritzburg that week. He had 2 requirements. He needed a butcher and he needed a doctor. There's lots of butchers and lots of doctors in Maritzburg, but there's very few areas where the butcher and the doctor are neighbors. So he comes to my neighbor butcher, and I'm in a new building. Remember, I just moved into Pietermaritzburg. I'm not from here, I'm from Durban. So I'm moving, the butcher comes and sees me. He says, look, this guy is here. He came from New York. He's from Pretoria. I came to teach French at the university, and he needs a doctor. He bought meat from me. So I meet Miller. I meet him several times. And one day he tells me an incredible story. He says, I was walking through the streets of New York. I was depressed. I was dejected. I didn't know the meaning of life. I don't even know why I was there. What was I walking around for? Why am I here in America? And I was just sad, sad, sad. That whilst doing that walk, from the corner of my eye, I see a man looking at me. I don't know this man. I've never met him. I don't know people in New York. So this man is looking at me, and my heart tells me to follow him. Now we have another teaching. Whenever you have a challenge or a circumstance or a problem or an issue, always internally reflect and then listen to your heart, not your head. So he listened to his heart and he followed this man. This man walked into St. John the Divine. It's a huge church in New York, which I visited in 2010 on my way to Haiti. And he says that's when he got a shock. The man he followed was a Turk, a Muslim, a master of Sufism, and a master of spirituality. And in the church, this man then made a zikr. A zikr is an Islamic practice where you chant God's names in Arabic. So in all the other religions and all the other scriptures, you would say, God, the one and only, kind, compassionate, merciful, loving, eternal, absolute, cherisher, nourisher, sustainer, creator, and so it goes. He said that the amazing thing was when he did that in the church, there were people of other faith, non-faith in the church too. There were other Christians, all denominations, Jewish people, Hindus, people said, we just here, we don't know any religion. And they all joined in the zikr. That was the amazing thing. And that was something to reflect upon. It means the elders of the church understood real religion. The religion is not a basis of friction, but it's the basis of unity and all encompassing. That's what religion is all about. So they had no issue with the Muslim Sufi making a zikr in a church. In South Africa, many more areas are opening to that. St. George's Cathedral in Cape Town, the retired Dean Michael Reeder is one who allowed that practice many times for different faith groups. Jews, Christians, Hindus, and Muslims were in the church at the same time, all doing their own kind of prayer. And there are other few centers in the country that's now opening to this kind of thinking and this kind of practice. Anyway, we carried on talking, and he tells me, you need to go to Istanbul, to Turkey. So I said, Mullah, I know you're not well. I've been treating you. It's 1986. I haven't even seen Cape Town in South Africa. When the hell am I going to see Turkey? That was 1986. And he said something very profound. He said, what God wills happens. I told you it's all about faith and spirituality. He said there's a time and a place, and it happened. In 1991, it's a very long story, a very roundabout story. I responded to a disaster, a cyclone in Bangladesh, but not as gift of the givers. I was involved in the Gulf War. I was involved in crisis in Mozambique, all before gift of the givers. In any case, the long story, I ended up in Turkey. I meet the spiritual teacher. What Mullah saw in New York, I saw in Istanbul. What he saw in St. John the Divine, I saw in the Halveti Jarahi spiritual order of Istanbul. He saw Jews, Christians, and Muslims in the church. I saw Jews, Christians, Muslims, everybody mixed up in Muslim holy place. I saw people in addition from different countries, America, Canada, Mexico, Brazil, Argentina, Germany, Switzerland, Norway, Denmark, Sweden, Australia, New Zealand, Africa, Southeast Asia, mixed, all different processes, all different kinds of baby, all different kinds of people. But to understand the context, this was post-Gulf War. Gulf War had polarized the world into East and West. Samuel Huntington at that point spoke of a clash of civilizations. The perception was Christians, Hindus, and Jews on one side, and Muslims on the other side. East on one side, West on the other side. And coming from an apartheid South Africa didn't help. And as you walk into this place and you see this diverse humanity, you're shocked to believe this is possible. No friction, no fighting, no anger. Everybody embracing each other. A spiritual teacher I don't ever know, I've never seen a picture of, never met him in my life. I see this man and I realize that this man must be the spiritual teacher. I was correct. That again is a part of spirituality. He looked at a shock on my face and he said, my son understood, again, spirituality. You see, normally when you travel and you go from place to place or to go to somebody's as a guest, they will ask you, like, where have you come from? Where are you
Yes.
staying? Are you okay? Did you eat something? Can you offer you a cup of coffee or tea? Do you need anything? Can somebody help you? That's what they will ask you. He didn't ask me that. The first thing he asked me is, what do you see? Because what I saw was conflicting in my head. How can people of different faiths, religions, countries be here together and nobody's in friction, just coming out of the Gulf War? I said, I'm confused. I see people from different religions, different countries, different nationalities in a Muslim holy place, and there's no friction. How is this possible? He said, my son, you see right. You need to understand that mankind is one single nation. The God of all mankind is one. We just know him by different names. Any imam, priest, sheikh, Sufi, Pandit, rabbi who promotes violence, extremism, terrorism, conflict, confrontation, and disorder is not a man of God. Don't follow him.
Absolutely.
Anyone that preaches love, for anyone that preaches love, kindness, compassion, and mercy is a man of God. Follow him. I was hooked. I got instantly in love with the man. He said, don't judge people. Don't look for negativity. Always look for positivity in people. No matter how hard they may be, always encourage the good within people. The good will come to the top and the negativity will go down. That's the law of the universe. That the good
That's
universe
fantastic.
functions on goodness. So I came back to South Africa. No more worrying about apartheid. No more worrying about the white race. No more worrying about the Afrikaner Church or the NGK or anything of the sort. I said, have an open mind to all people. And that just changed my entire life. To have that open mind and just to realize that we've got 98% in common, only 2% difference. We always focus on the 2% difference, not the 98% common. And I looked at this. I went for pilgrimage the following year, my first pilgrimage. I stood in front of the Prophet's tomb in Muhammad, peace be upon him, in Medina, in Saudi Arabia. And I said, I'm a little confused to this place that I went. I need to know if it's the right form of religion, then I want to go back. But I still don't understand this concept. 6th August 92, I landed back there. Thursday night, Thursday for Muslims is very important because our Friday starts on Thursday night. We follow the lunar calendar. So our day starts at sunset the day before. So Friday is sunset Thursday night. So that night, 10 p.m., the spiritual teacher, of course, made the zikr. Now, those who don't have an experience of a zikr, there are a lot of Westerners that come to that place in Turkey, and they go to some other places in America and in Europe and everywhere else. And, when you're in a zikr, you feel the presence of God Almighty with you, eventually, during the middle of the zikr. When that happened, the teacher then stopped. I was sitting in the corner of the room, and he was sitting in the other corner. He suddenly picked up his head, made eye contact with me, and in fluent Turkish. And I don't speak a word of Turkish, nor do I understand a word of Turkish. But that night, I understood, and that night I understood every single word that he said in Turkish. He said, my son, I am not asking you, I'm instructing you to form an organization. He gave the name. When a spiritual teacher gives you a name, there's a power in the name that he selects. The name he gave you in Arabic, very complicated, Waqful Waqifin. We don't speak Arabic, so it's complicated for us. But translated, and the translation can never be perfect because Arabic to English is not easy.
Yes.
And the name we found was Gift of the Givers. You will serve all people of all races, all religions, all colors, all classes, all cultures, of any geographical location and of any political affiliation. But you will serve them unconditionally. You will expect nothing in return, not even a thank you. This is an instruction for you for the rest of your life. I was 30 years old.
Wow.
Serve people with love. Serve people with love, kindness, compassion, and mercy. And remember, the dignity of man is foremost. If somebody is down, don't push them into the ground further. Hold them, elevate them. Wipe the tear of a grieving child. Caress the head of an orphan. Say words of good counsel to a widow. These things are free. They don't cost anything.
That's
Clothe
right.
the
They
naked.
are free. Yes.
Clothe the naked. Feed the hungry. provide water to the thirsty. And in everything you do, be the best at what you do. Not because of ego, it was destructive, but because of dealing with human life, human suffering, human emotion, and human dignity. My son, remember that whatever you do is done through you and not by you. There's no place for ego. South Africans think I'm some kind of a hero. They call me an icon and a legend. I don't know what else.
They do.
but but what I don't understand is that what I do is not humanly possible. Everything's laid out for you. It's put for you. And if you to the program, maybe I'll give you some examples. I asked him some point later, not the same time, because it was too intense at that point. I asked him how come when you speak Turkish, I understand? When other people speak Turkish, I don't understand. He said, my son, when the hearts connect and the souls connect, the words become understandable. I asked him, what exactly is your instruction? I'm a doctor, 3 practices in a place called Pietermaritzburg in South Africa. I'm busy Monday to Sunday, after hours, long weekends, public holidays. What am I supposed to do and when am I going to do this? He gave me one line. You will know. For 32 years, I know exactly what to do, how to do it, when to do it, and not to do it, what to touch and what not to touch. In fact, the moment I walked out of that place on 6 August 1992, it came to me instantly. Respond to the civil war in Bosnia.
Yes.
The same month, I took in 32 containers of aid into a war zone all alone. 3 months later, I took in 8 containers of winter items. And in 93, when he said, be the best at what you are, we built in South Africa the world's first containerized mobile hospital. No government, no agency, nobody in the world had ever done it. We built it in South Africa, with South African engineering, South African technology, state-of-the-art, 28 containers, theater, X-ray, ICU, sterilization, dental unit, orthopedics, gynecology, pediatrics, and a whole range of other stuff. Plus a bus to carry patients, a generator to power it, an ambulance for short distances, and enough containers, 10 containers of backup suppliers, and enough fuel to make the hospital totally self-sufficient for an entire year wherever we put it. And that's exactly what we did. And that's how we started off. Everything. I had no concept of a containerized hospital in my brain. I had no concept of going to Bosnia, of responding to a war. And who starts an organization with the war is the first project? When you start an organization, you do
yes, that was very...
like a soup kitchen or give us some blankets or go to an orphanage, something like that. Who starts the first project within 2 weeks of an instruction in the war?
Yes, absolutely.
So that's how it started. And you ask us, the transition from doctor to humanity is so different. If you do medicine properly, you're dealing with human life, human dignity, human suffering. You're taking care of people. Compassion is required. You understand the person, people, you listen to them, you help them, you listen to their stories. It's no different, except it's far more challenging. It's far more interesting. You do various things because in a practice, especially if you have an Indian practice in South Africa, the patients always know more than the doctor. They come there, they tell you, they know this, they know that they read this in this article. So I said, why don't you help yourself? Don't come to me, you help yourself. So it's that kind of concept. They tell you all the latest things that both all them one, they're like professors on their own. And so this became far more interesting. Security, safety, logistics, fundraising, diplomacy, crossing countries. But I mean, it's not only outside South Africa. Our biggest projects are inside South Africa. So the transition is absolutely easy. And the kind of field that I do, medicine is very critical. You have to understand medicine because most of our disaster intervention is, besides search and rescue, we have our own teams. It's medical. You need to understand the new concepts, the new technology, the type of intervention, the machines that change from heavy things that you carry to portable stuff, lightweight, instant service, changes in technology. So a medical background is absolutely critical for that aspect of the organization. Of course, the other aspect, you don't need to be a doctor, but we don't do disasters only. We've got over 21 types of projects.
There was a story I remember from the work that occurred in Bosnia, where there was 10 years after the end of the war, there was a woman who had been treated in that hospital, and that she went on to give birth to 4 children in the mobile hospital that you set up, you and your team set up, which is an incredible story of the continuation of life and the gift of life. And I remember that story today.
That story actually, first of all, I did make some kind of clarification. When we started off in 92, there were no medical teams. The first medical team was in 2004. So up to that stage, it was tents, blankets, food, medicine, bottled water, diapers, that kind of stuff. We designed the hospital, yes, which was unique, but it was handed over to medical people inside Bosnia. We didn't have medical teams at that stage.
Okay.
It was only 12 years later when the modern medical processes started and how the organization evolved. It's a phenomenal story how it evolved. But in 2005, the Bosnian president called me, invited me to come to Bosnia. They wanted to say thank you. I said it's really not necessary. He said, no, we want you to come. So my family and I were invited. We went from place to place, and eventually we came to the place called Mostar, where the hospital we had put in Mostar. I did tell them in 1993 that when the war is over, the way the hospital is built in containers, you can remove all the equipment and put it in a fixed building. So you can take it out. You're not going to be stuck. So it's more practical to work in containers if it's small. But a big building, you can do much more stuff. The equipment is all world class. So that's exactly what happened. The military base at that time that got converted to the main hospital of the area. And all the equipment is moved, plus when they bring other equipment and make the hospital bigger. So it is there. And the director I put in charge of the hospital in 93 was the same guy I met in 2005. He was still there. So he told me, he told me, you said that we could do everything besides heart surgery in the theater. I said, that's exactly what I told you.
Yes.
So he brings the same lady you're speaking about. He
That's
brings
amazing.
her to me and he says, see this lady. So I said, yes. He said she had shrapnel in her heart. We removed the shrapnel in her heart in this theater that you South Africans provided. And you see 4 children, they were born to this lady. After the shrapnel was removed in this theater, in this very same hospital. So we identify South Africa with the giving of life, but healing, with dignity. Thank you very much for bringing this hospital to us. Now, I'm going to give you another story which you don't know about.
Okay.
The Turkey earthquake related to the same story. The Turkey earthquake, 6 February 2023. Remember, my first project was the Bosnia hospital.
Yes.
6 February 2023, the earthquake hits Turkey. Our teams get deployed. We're in a place called Hatay, the worst affected area. Only 12 teams in the world were selected by the Turkish government to go to Hatay. Others were 11 were sent by governments. We're the only one that's non-government. Once we were there on day 8, we're the only team in the world that had 5 sniffer dogs. The others had 1 or 2 or none. So the other governments were hiding dogs, were not hiding, taking dogs from us. And then on day 8, 13 February 2023, our dog tells us we need to go to this building. In a 12-story pancake building, we pulled out alive a 90-year-old grandmother. When that happened, that after the 12 teams, one of the teams that was there and spotted us was the Bosnian team. Now the Bosnian team leader comes to my team leader, taps him on the shoulder, and he starts sobbing. So the team leader asks him, like, what happened to you now? He takes out a wallet. In the wallet, there's a photograph. In the photograph, there's a woman and a baby. It says, that baby, that's me. That woman is my mother. So what's the relevance to us? What's the relevance to us? He said, we know your name. You brought the hospital to Bosnia in 93. I was born in that hospital.
Oh, I got goosebumps. I can't believe that. That's unbelievable.
That's spirituality. That's what I'm speaking about. Nothing is planned. This is spirituality. 173 countries responded to the earthquake. Over 300 teams from all over the world. Some countries had more than one team. Only 12 teams were selected to go to Hatay. Of the 12, one was our gift of the givers and one was Bosnian. And from the Bosnian team, the guy that was born in the hospital was there. This is not a coincidence. Nothing in gift of the givers is a coincidence. Everything is spiritually guided.
That's incredible. Absolutely amazing. And I'm sure everyone listening to that has goosebumps. I have tears in my eyes. I always do when I listen to you. So that was amazing, an amazing story. I wanted to speak to you about the projects that you do in South Africa. There are a few people on this call from South Africa. However, they are mostly people from outside of our home country. And there is so much there that can be or that needs faith and needs help and needs support. And there were a few that I know that you worked on recently, the floods in particular, and with regards to the informal settlements. Obviously, when there was COVID, and it's a completely different environment to what a lot of our guests are familiar with or understand or know. And I would love you to share some of the work that is done in South Africa and how important that work is, and how much, obviously, there's need everywhere. However, I'm a South African, and it's very important for me as well to hear about the work that is done in South Africa.
Let me take you through a series. So let's say in November 2016, I killed all international marketing. I'm starting at that point so people can understand. November 2016, I killed all international marketing. I didn't kill the projects. The projects internationally are growing at a phenomenal pace. But I killed the marketing because the media was focusing too much on the international stuff and not the local things.
Yes.
But to have focus on something local, we need something major to happen. So the first major thing that happened, the projects were running in South Africa, but they were not sort of known, right? Because nobody's interested in a soup kitchen here, or a feeding center day, or a blanket distribution here. It's not fancy. So for the media, that's very boring, to be honest. But so 7 June 2017.
That's my birthday.
7 June.
7th of June.
Well, because of the disaster. 7 June 2017, massive fire in Knysna. Now, Knysna is the highlight because all I think your guests probably from Europe, European tourists come there. A lot of people got houses in Knysna, and they come to the heads there, and a lot of foreigners got houses there, and lots of rich CEOs or MDs of companies live there. So that fire captured attention in the country.
Yes.
But there's a back end story to that, another spiritual explanation before the fire. Around the beginning of June 2017, my office manager from Johannesburg calls me and he tells me, look, this guy from Pretoria has collected bottled water, a truckload, a Superlink load, and he wants it sent to Cape Town with our Superlink. So I said, for what reason? He said, Cape Town is reaching day zero, and they need the water there. So I said, the guy is crazy. We can buy water from nearby and send it there. It's more expensive. The transport is more expensive than the water. It doesn't make sense what the man is doing. I said, no, I'm not going to do it. He's out of his mind. So but old guy is an old man. My office manager is an old man. I'm feeling it hard to tell an old man, no, because out of the religion is very emphasizes respect to old people. I'm caught between the religion and practicality. So I'm saying, you know what? No, first my common brain sense great saying this it's mess. I'm not going to do this. And after the old man pleads to me, I said, why that guy making his problem my problem? Eventually, very reluctantly, and let the truck leave on the 6th of June for Cape Town. When the fire hit on the 7th of June, we get information that the fire is so big because there's a drought in the area. They can't put the fire off. There's no water, and there's no running water. And at that point, I realized that I was sending this water not to Cape Town, but to Knysna.
To Knysna.
So in the middle of the morning, early of 8 June morning, I called the truck driver. I said, where are you? He said, I'm with 3 sisters. I said, turn around. You're going to Knysna. And the first water that arrived in Knysna was the gift of the gift water, which I did not want to send to Cape Town. The higher hand took my own decision, and that water was the first water. And that's what captured the media, and the story for our local projects then became prominent. For the first time, South African public could see our skill. We send in firefighters to assist the firefighters. We send in advanced life support paramedics. We send in advanced life support ambulance. We're sending an entire specialist medical team to move all the patients from Nizhna to George and other hospitals. We looked after 1,200 firefighters twice a day for energy aid, energy drinks, water, energy biscuits, and one hot meal a day. 1,200 firefighters twice a day. We then sent in 2 ladies, the project managers, who coordinated the delivery of 20,000 food parcels, blankets, hygiene packs with all the different groups. Checkers ShopRite gave us the car park, but a Superlink couldn't go up the car park. The people of Nizhna came with their 4x4s and drove up, collected the parcel and brought it back down. Companies bought forklifts, one downstairs, one upstairs. So people were seeing this multi-pronged response. Firefighters, taking firefighters, paramedics, medical teams, project managers. And then whilst we were doing that, somebody came and said, what about the cat and the dog? So I said, what about the cat and the dog? They said, they're hungry. They've got no food. So we brought in 30 tons of pet food. And I'm sure those pets must be waiting for a fire every week because so much of pet food we brought in. Then somebody came and said, what about the animals? So I said, what animals? They said the sheep, the cow, the pig, the horse. And I said, anything else? Yes, the elephant in the park. That's what you need. Special type of fodder. I've got somebody who knows about this kind of things, not my field, and we started supplying fodder for those kind of situations. We built houses. We have people, So this was a start. First time in South Africa, corporate South Africa took a serious interest in what we're doing. Never in our history have corporates in South Africa ever come to us. This was the first time. In 3 weeks, they gave us 20 million. We don't ask for money. We have a policy. We don't have fundraising. We don't have a fundraising organization. We don't ask people for money. It comes on its own.
Absolutely.
The sort of 20 million came. Now, you want to know the project started developing from there. Once we were nice enough, 2 things happened. The Western Cape Disaster Management called us and said we're in serious trouble. There is no water in Beaufort West. There is no underground water. It's going to collapse. What do we do? And at the same time, we got a call from Sutherland in the North Cape to say that farmers are in serious trouble. The drought is crippling. There is no fodder. The price merino sheep, the sheep count is dropping from 442,000. It eventually dropped to 32,000. Everybody, farm workers lost their jobs. Farmers' credit was maxed. The credit card was maxed. The loans were maxed. Getting stuff from the corporates was maxed. Some farmers even shot themselves because they couldn't take the tragedy. They took the kids out of private school. They took them out of universities. They had no food in the house. The farm workers had no food in the house. The farmers didn't have money to put fuel in the buggy to fetch fodder if somebody's going to give it to them. That was a challenge in Sutherland and the Northern Cape. And on the other side, Beaufort West, they had this problem. So I said, there's no water in the ground. Only if my hydrologist says there's no water in the ground. If he says there's no water, then there's no water. If he says there's water, there is water. So I called my hydrologist, Dr. Gideon Groenewald. He was lucky nearby in Worcester. He came, he looked at the terrain, he looked at the rocks. He said, we can find water. It took us a whole week. We found it. We drilled 7 boreholes near the Khamka Dam, and we pushed in 7,000 liters per hour per borehole. And we pushed it into the Khamka Dam. By gravity, brought it into the city, into the reservoirs, and pumped it into the old city.
Oh my gosh.
And thereafter, we put 2 boreholes, one in each school, and one into each old age home. So the old people don't have to walk off to fetch water, and the schools don't have to leave schools to get water. And when we do that, we put taps on the outside. So cars driving past, people want to collect money out water, they can just come outside the school or the old age home, and they can collect from there. Wherever we put it in the institution, we run pipes to the outside or to the road. So that happened. And then we started making arrangements to send fodder for the sheep. In July 2018, the farmer said, thank you very much. We appreciate everything that you've done for us, but it's time to close shop. So I said, what do you mean? They said, the boreholes have dried out. Fodder without water is no use. The sheep are going to die. So to close shop, and it's the end. So I told them, that language you give for the givers, we don't understand that kind of language. We don't understand it can't be done. That's not in the vocabulary. I said, don't go do your job. You better go there. So I sent him, and my drill is a guy called Martin Landman. Groenewald said, there's a lot of water here, don't worry. We drilled 238 boreholes at a cost of 90 million at our own cost, not a single cent funded by anybody.
Yeah.
Our own reserves. And we drilled 238 boreholes to save those sheep. Up to today, from 2017 up to 2015, I've spent 400 million rand to save the farmers of the Northern Cape, save the sheep, to save the jobs, to save the farmers. We gave food parcels to farm workers and to farmers. They reached a point where they couldn't feed their families anymore. We don't make a big story about this, but people, took it. And for the first time from last year, the sheep count is starting to grow, to rise. They're becoming more profitable again because we're funding pellets. We're funding the manufacture of pellets, which is fortified sheep food. It's the most high quality pellets in South Africa. They've done a test on it. And we're funding the shortfall on those pellets also, but the farmers still can't afford it. So that's another project. And then, of course, we started getting big into boreholes. 2019, Grahamstown, Makanda, went into a drought. The university was going to collapse, and everything else was going to collapse. If the university collapses, the town collapses because it's a university town. The economy is driven by university. We pushed in 16 boreholes into the city to try to save them. And boreholes became another big project for us. Up till now, we've done more than 600 boreholes in South Africa in the last 5 to 6 years.
It's incredible.
And then the big challenge came with COVID. Now, but hospitals in South Africa, it's the most complicated structure to assist. If you give them things for free, it's like a crime. It's like there's something wrong with you. They only want to buy things because there's people get the cut under the table. You get things for free, there's no cut under the table,
That's right.
So
That's right.
So when my team said, let's get involved in hospitals, we got such fantastic teams overseas, why don't we get locally involved? And they started laughing. They said they're not going to allow us to get involved because of all these nonsense stories. So when COVID came, I said, God, the door is going to open up here. I asked no permission. I didn't ask for any MOU. I didn't ask anybody. I just walked into the hospitals.
Yes.
What PPEs, oxygen delivery machines, what masks, what sterilizer, what scrubs, 210 hospitals nationwide. We just walked in. After 2 weeks, somebody called from the health department and said, hey, you need to sign an MOU. I asked him, somebody, do you want to die? Are you prepared to die? Yes or no?
Yep.
They said, no, you do what you want. No MOU, you cried. You walk wherever you want. Nobody will stop you. It's yours. Yes. And from that day onwards, from 2020 up to today, we do whatever we want. We're busy with catch-up surgery for cataracts. We upgrade infrastructure. We build new wings in hospitals. We build classrooms. We put container labs. Ford America, USA, Ford Foundation, gave us 36.7 million to deploy and to build and to manage science and maths labs in containers. We just delivered 100 science and maths labs to the most rural parts of South Africa at the cost of 36.7 million, within budget, 5 months ahead of schedule.
Fantastic.
And then in Charlotte McKecket, the hospital built in April 21. We came in, the stores burned, and we then took a disused building, our old nurses' quarters, and we made that the new stores. It's the largest stores in any hospital, private or public, on the African continent. 3,000 square meters. We built it at our own cost, 60 million. But all the fire regulations, fire doors, sprinkler systems, world-class, engineering and technology. When we opened it, the Development Bank of Southern Africa, which coordinates all government projects in South Africa, it will invite us, and the health minister came as a guest to the opening of the facility. The Development Bank of SA went with all the engineers and the technical people around the whole facility that we 3,000 square meters. They came back to me and they said, where did you find 150 million? So I said, 150 million for what? They said to do this project. I said, this project didn't cost us 150 million. It cost us 60 million. He said, that's impossible. How did you guys do this for 60 million? Maybe you guys should take over government projects and start taking our projects. They are already talking to us about that. They've already had several meetings for us. They want us to take over several projects. They said, we can't match you.
They won't be able to. Absolutely not. Dr. Sooliman, I'm going to open up the floor for some of our members to put some questions in the chat. And while we are talking about that, I had another question for you. With regards to, can you take us, because I know there are some members on here that would be interested in hearing about this particular project of yours. In 2022, you did work with in the Ukrainian war. Could you touch on that while some of the questions come up?
Yes, again, that's very spiritual.
Okay.
My guy we get a call from somebody in South Africa, an Afrikaner guy.
Yeah.
First, there were two guys. There's a Dr. Andre Fenter, anesthetist who's based in George. And he calls me, he said, the war started. He said, I go to Ukraine often. I train them in anesthetic skills. Here's a lady. You need to talk to her. Her name is Irina Labienka. She'll call you, and just give them they need some assistance. He tells me that on a Tuesday. On a Thursday, I get this link. I'm on a call with people all over the world. Nobody's spoken to me. But I'm on a link with all these people from USA, UK, Ukraine, Poland, other parts of the world. I don't know anybody who these people are, but my name is on the link, And then I asked the guy, Andre, what is this? He said, no, they're having a discussion of how to intervene, in Ukraine. That's the first aspect. An Afrikaner man living also in George, or in Mossel Bay, calls my friend and says, look, my wife is Ukrainian. She's there at the moment. They need some help. Can you assist, to help in the war? So I said, okay, where's your wife? And she told me some place near Kiev at some rural area. I said, I'm going to give you instructions. Number one, right now, find any shop that's open, find any pharmacy that's open, find any wholesale that's open, then go to the areas where manufacturing takes place. We need to negotiate price. We need to get, better prices. Can you get money to her? Yes, I can. I can do this, that, and the other. So that's the one side. So we started sending money. They moved instantly. They started buying clothing, food, medicines. They set up teams and they started delivering door to door. They had a list of people. All person in this house needs diabetic medication. All lady in that house needs diabetic medication. This one needs, from the chemists, we got whatever we got. Yeah, manufacturer called, yes, you buy 50, I give you 50 free. We buy gas stoves, we buy this, we buy cooking utensils, all kinds of items. They gave me the list. I started purchasing it. So and then we started, they've never done this before, at least my wife. They started getting better all the time, getting better prices, better discounts. Normally in a war, people get very greedy. They put prices up.
Yes.
Here the people were giving things for free and bringing the prices down. The people that they met. And then we got different groups together. So that was the one avenue. Baby clothes, baby food, normal clothes, and adult food, setting up hot meals, going to different areas, giving stuff for medicines and buying stuff. That was the first aspect. Whilst we're doing that, somebody says, hey, we've seen this lady doing this. We need your help. We from the east of Ukraine. The European people are sending us stuff, but it's coming in trucks, but we don't have fuel to move the stuff from the Polish border to the inside where we have to go. And from inside, what we have, we can't move it to where we have to go. So they call, and a few days later, somebody from the south called, and then from the dangerous part, the west called. All came with the same request. We're getting supplies, we got vehicles, we got no money. We can't move the stuff. So I started funding all those vehicles. I didn't have to fund goods anymore because the goods were already there. What's the point of funding the goods? And the people who were collecting them for Europe, unfortunately, it wasn't the big business people. It was very ordinary activists. People, just good-hearted people, who, like they did the same thing in Bosnia. It was just ordinary people. Go to some shop, collect some stuff, put it in a truck. Somebody gives you a truck, takes it to the border, and they can't do anything else after that. Offload the stuff. And, and the people have to make sure it doesn't go into military hands, because military then things can disappear. So I said, are you sure it's not for the military? They said, no, it's for people. So this was the mechanism. 3 different areas, plus the lady, the wife of the Afrikaner guy in South Africa, the 4 different mechanisms. Now let's go back to the Zoom. So when I'm talking to listening to those people talk, when I finished off, I had the number of that lady Irina that the doctor gave me. So I called her after the talk. I said, I'm sorry to tell this to you. You guys haven't got a clue what you're doing. You guys are a total disaster in that. I'm sorry, I'm a very blunt guy. I'm saying it like this. When it comes to clubs, I got no time to be pally and cordial. And so much. We save lives. Sorry, you guys have absolutely no clue what you're doing. So that same night, she said, can I speak to you? I said, yes. I gave an entire blueprint how to intervene in a war. And I told her, call me step by step what you need to do. How are you going to move patients? How are you going to move them from hospitals? What are you going to do? Put them underground, instant action, test, fix, and move them out to another place. How to move food, how to take off all your logo and all your signs off the different vehicles, move it from the ambulances, don't brand ambulances, take off the signage, use a horse cart, travel at night, climb up the mountain, all those kind of things I told her. Strangely enough, a month ago, that lady came to me in South Africa. She came to teach anesthetics, war medicine at the university. And she came, I met her 11 o'clock at night. I spent 2 hours with her, and she called me 2 days ago again from
that's
Ukraine.
amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
And,
It's incredible.
And I helped her a lot of stuff.
Yes.
And also, after I give advice, I helped her also. I even bought her a vehicle and helped her towards stuff.
It's incredible how all those connections are there. They're there. And like you said, you will know. They just come to you, right? It's through you. It's through you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, let me tell you another one. Last week, the Ukrainian ambassador called me. She asked me, she's my good friend. We meet all the time. And she asked me, are you in South Africa on the 10th of April? I said, yes, I'm around on that date. I've stopped traveling for the last 6 years. I don't travel out of the country. I've been fixing things in the country. So I said, my country comes first before I travel anywhere else. So I've been traveling in South Africa. So I said, yes, I'm around. She said, Zelensky is coming. I have a feeling that she wants me to meet him. Because we've put in 20 million rand of aid into Ukraine.
Wow.
But I won't
He's coming to South Africa.
Yes, because our president invited him. So he's coming, and she said, that's not a hoax. I said, I know it can't be a hoax. The president announced it. How can he announce something that's a hoax? Obviously, he's coming.
He's coming, yeah.
Yeah, so I think she wants me to meet him on the 10th.
Oh, that's beautiful. I have quite a lot of comments and some questions. So I'm going to read some of these. Dr. Sooliman, quite a few years ago, there was a lady also full of faith who made incredible changes for people in need. Her name was Mother Teresa. I heard Sir Bob Geldof, World Aid, describe an interaction between Mother Teresa and a world leader where she used incredible, humble, tough negotiation skills to gain support for a particular large-scale project. In your many years of service, can you give some insight on the way you've developed your approach for support from government and business leaders? Thank you. Love your work. I'm a new fan.
We don't approach governments for any support. We support government the other way around.
Yes, that's right.
And when we do that, the support I get from government is they don't stand in my way. They acknowledge our work. When they acknowledge our work, the captains of the industry then come to us to say, you've been acknowledged in parliament like hundreds of times by the president directly, by the ministers. There's motions of commendations passed in the parliament, I don't know how many times, in our favor. Yeah. Every minister comes on radio and TV, first thanks us before they thank everybody else. And they say, to their credit, they say, the government didn't respond. The government was too slow. Gift of the givers always outshines government. Yes. They are an arm of the government, and the government doesn't give them anything. That's what they say in the media. Yes. And they acknowledge it. And they say, thank you. Everywhere we messed up, you fixed up. That's what they say openly.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. So I don't ask them. And as I said, we have no fundraisers. We believe that if our work doesn't speak, nothing is going to change. When we do what we do, people come to us in droves and come to put money. And they say, we want to support this project. So we don't, I have a whole corporate team. I'm blunt. I tell a guy, I tell the corporates, you guys are not specialists in disaster management. I am. If you think you're too clever, take your money and take a walk. And I tell them straight. And they come back with a double amount of money. Yeah. I love that. I mean, Sivanya Stillwater came to me, the mines. We started off around one simple project. When I explained what we do, it's suddenly gone crazy. From 10 million to 25 million to 60 million, they will just carry on giving us projects. Yeah. Ford said we gave you 36.7 million. We didn't give you enough. We need to give you much more. We want to do all these other projects with you. And it's like that. When one sees the other one, and then the other one sees the other one. Yes. The other thing in South Africa that has been unique, when COVID hit, everything was now the new thing called Zoom and virtual, any part of the day or night. But that practical aspect has been carrying on right up to today, 3 years later. We get calls from companies on the 31st of December. Which corporate company is working on the 31st of December? And they said, we want the proposal now because in Cape Town in December, you asked me about floods. We responded to 12 fires in 10 days. By the end of 3 weeks, we responded to 40 fires in 3 weeks in Cape Town alone. Besides floods in Northwest, Limpopo, Mpumalanga, KZN, fires in the other part of the country, boards somewhere else, soup kitchen somewhere. We run 233 feeding centers in the country. All that at the same time. Corporates call you on New Year's Day, Christmas Day, and Saturday, Sunday, and we don't phone them. We don't ask them for money. And they come to us. So to answer your friend's question is, our work talks for itself.
Absolutely. So that would answer this question: how can organizations like ours give back and or support you? So from our side, we can give you advice on that in terms of going onto the Gift of the Givers website. If you just type in Gift of the Givers into Google, it will come up, and you can have a look at a lot of the work that Dr. Sooliman and his team have done, and support in that way. This is an amazing question, which I think would be interesting for you to answer. Where is the biggest need right now for humanity as a whole, in your opinion?
In the country or internationally?
Internationally, as a whole.
Humans, we've lost compassion, we've lost ethics, we've lost values. If you fix that up, you fix all the crises all over the world, no matter what it is. Man makes the crisis because of man's innate nature towards greed, arrogance, need for power, control, wealth. If you fix that into wealth, I was doing a talk recently for the Anesthetic Society of South Africa. When I finished off, one of the doctors got up and he told me, if I make you the dean of all the medical schools in the country, what would you teach? I said, besides medicine, I teach compassion. We've forgotten that. If human beings get back compassion, faith, spirituality, and ethics, 95% of the problems that we've got in all the different countries, all the war, the land grabbing, the fighting, the tribal war, all that will go away. When you realize, when it comes to money, I tell the corporates, all right, all of you are sitting in this room. If I give you 2 billion rand each, you'll be very happy, won't you? They said, yes. But before I give you that money, I want you to answer me one question. How many lifetimes are you going to live to spend that money? Because no matter how much money you make, you can't spend all of it. You can only live in one house, in one room, drive one car, eat 3 meals a day, and when you get older, you can only eat 1 meal a day. And you can have a yacht, but you can't use it every day. So I said, we have a teaching. What you don't spend is not yours. So you can make 10 billion, 100 billion, 400 billion. It's not yours because you won't have the lifetime to spend it. What is yours is what you spend in your lifetime. So what are you chasing? You want to feel joy, contentment, peace, happiness. You are looking for something. You're chasing because you can't find that peace in your soul. The way to peace in your soul is to serve others. That's God's formula. He created man. He knows what he created. The person who created the machine knows what must go inside the machine. So when God created humans, he put compassion and service as part of that. But when you negate that part of it and grab and make, and you don't fill that part of your soul, it will always be restless. I can tell you this because I'm doing this for 34 years. I have no desire for any material things. I find absolute satisfaction in what I do. I do this 365 days a year for 34 years, 32 years.
And I can confirm that because I can contact Dr. Sooliman at any time in any time zone, and he is available.
So we need to work towards that. Our schools, ECDs, I don't know what they call them in Europe, but we call them early childhood development. Some people call them preschool, some call them nursery school. I don't know what they call them. Preschool, primary school, high school, tertiary school, business colleges, business schools, government, corporations. The good thing is in South Africa, a lot of companies are now putting up an ethics division, where ethics is becoming an important part of the yearly annual conference and the business meeting and the group meeting, where people are starting to learn. And you can see the changes in the country. COVID was a wake-up call for a lot of people in this country. Some people still have lost it, but a lot of people want to go the right way, inside government too.
Yes. Thank you for that. That was a profound answer. So there's a question here, and I think I think I can answer this one for you because we've spoken about it. Hi, Doctor, when you are in the middle of natural disasters and war site, what keeps you going? And I believe it's the compassion, and it's your purpose. Would you agree with that, Dr. Sooliman?
Well, let me put it explain it a bit more clearer.
Yeah.
You see, when I stopped leading the teams internationally now. We've been involved in 47 countries.
Yes.
I stopped leading the teams because I'm the oldest guy. I founded it and I'm the oldest guy. And I need the young blood. I need succession planning. I don't want to drop dead with all the things in my head and go away to take the whole organization with me.
Yes.
So over the last 10 years or so, I've been sending the younger guys to go on their own. Now, let's take a specific example. 2013, they went to Philippines when Typhoon Haiyan hit. Everybody else went to a place called Palompon. We didn't go there. I said, we're going to a place where nobody's been. So we went to an island called Tacloban. We were the first team in the world that arrived on that island. When we got there, I was not in the team because I sent the young guys first. When they got there, they called me back. They said there's something wrong in this island. So I said, yes, I know. The typhoon hit it. They said, no, not that. You know, the people they're not moving. They're not talking. They're not doing anything. They're just quiet. Nothing moves. Everybody's like completely depressed. We know we see depression after an earthquake or a flood, but they said this is different. That the people are totally paralyzed. They're totally non-functional and dysfunctional.
Yes.
So we asked the mayor, because the mayor received them at the quay. The mayor said, besides what has happened, the doctors haven't received and the nurses haven't received salaries for 3 months, but that's not the main problem. The main problem is that, we're an island and we only have one hospital. And the only hospital in the island is going to shut down because it's been damaged by the Typhoon Haiyan. And people are totally depressed because of no food, no whatever, and broken homes. But where are they going to deliver the baby? Where are they going to get treated for wounds? Where are they going to treat the children? Or what are they going to do? So my guy asked me, what must I do? So I said, what kind of dumb question is that? You know my policy? If your wife, your child, your mother is in that situation, what will you do?
Yes.
You put the phone down. You put the phone down.
Yes.
In 72 hours, all the Afrikaner guys, the big size guys, I think they would be very good for their hands. In 72 hours, they replaced 1,000 square meters of roof in the hospital. They fixed the doors, the windows, the floors. They went in the basement, took out all the outdated medical equipment and started fixing that. The moment we did that, in the entire island, you started getting the hammer and the nails. People got motivated to fix the things themselves. I paid all the doctor's salaries, paid all the nurses' salaries, gave food to all the patients in the hospital, gave food parcels for the doctors and the nurses, and we motivated the entire island to take care of themselves. Up till today, they still contact us from Philippines.
That's amazing. Thank you for that. That's incredible. Here's another one. Sorry, there we go. Here's another one that I think would be very interesting. How do you deal with fear in these situations? And thank you so much for sharing your stories with us today.
We don't have fear. Fear is not part of our vocabulary. It's not me, it's my own team. My team are all, they're not necessarily religious, but they're all spiritual. Spirituality knows no religion, they have faith. So I got Christian guys, I got Jewish people, I got black people, white people, Hindu people, Tamil people, Muslim people. Now let me take the part of the fear. When there's a war, we intervene in a war. That's the part that I'm the most brutal. I phone them all, I tell them, it's very dangerous for you to come.
Yes.
You're going to get shot. You're going to get bombed. You're going to lose an eye. You're going to lose a limb. You're a single parent. Your child will be without a mother. So one day they got in Afrikaans schat full of me. They got,
that means that's me to everyone online. That means they were done with Dr. Sooliman.
and a Christian doctor calls me. Her name is Roseanne Simmons. Calls me from Durban, and she says, "Dr. Sooliman, don't you think we have faith? Don't you think we've thought about this already? Don't you think we know what can happen? We adults, we have faith. God Almighty will take care of us because we're going to take care of these people. We all come, we're not afraid to die." And that's how my teams are. They are totally fearless. They couldn't be bothered what happens. And when the missiles come, and I tell them, anybody ready to leave? They gave me that dumb look again. What the hell do you think we came for?
Oh, my goodness.
So
Thank you for that.
I think that's a spiritual thing, because the teams come to us. The teacher said, the right people will find you. I don't know all these people. They came to me on their own.
That's fantastic. Thank you. I have another question here about where can we get your book? I know that you can purchase Dr. Sooliman's books on Amazon. Is there anywhere else that they can purchase it? So in terms of international members, Amazon is a good place?
Yeah, Amazon is the best place. I don't think they've sent it out to South Africa to anywhere else. You know what? Amazon is the best place. And there are other of these book links. There are some other companies. I don't know all the names, but they are there. Exclusive books in South Africa keep it, but you need to, there's no point getting it sent all the way across the world.
Yes, Amazon's the best place, unless they would like to have it signed by you, Dr. Sooliman. I have one signed by you, and it's a very important.
Sam, when did I meet you?
That was at Caro's. You signed that for me at Caroline's. Remember you did that speech? Oh, it was in 2016. That's how long ago you signed that particular book. The one with that was at the Durban Country Club with Caroline. And do you remember that one? Yeah, that was I had just had my yes, that was when I had just had my third baby. And it was the book where you had the aeroplane, you guys had the plane on the back of it, and you signed that one for me. Yeah. So
and the following year, she arranged my baby's first birthday party in that same club.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Yeah. So all of those, that's when you signed that one for me. And I remember that day was it was one of the first days that I had seen you again after having my third child and after Cara and I lost our mom. So it was a very important day for us. Thank you for that.
And you lost your father last year in November.
Yes, that's right. Yes, we did.
And I we speak a lot.
Yes, I know. She said she still speaks to you all the time. And yeah, absolutely. We are. You're very important to us, Doctor. So I'm going to end our session. I know that there's a lot of thank yous. There's a lot of thank you very much for sharing this with us. You have truly touched my heart. Thank you for telling us your stories. A lot of appreciation towards you, Doctor, and for sharing it with all of us, and for impacting my life as well, very much, for also at very important times of my life and my family's life, and the work that you do is very important to us, and we have always been huge supporters of yours, and will continue to be in the future. So thank you very much.
And thank you to all the people in the team. I don't know which country they're from, but thank you to everybody. And thanks for setting that, Samantha. Caroline will be very happy. I'll speak to her soon.
Yeah, she will be. Thank you. And then we've got one last comment. Brilliant guest this evening, Dr. Sam. What an amazing human being. Yes, Dr. Sooliman is an amazing human being, and his work is coming through him to everyone that needs it. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.